Hello, everybody. My name is Enrico Vannucci, and I'm one of the programmers here at Torino Short Film Market. Welcome to this last panel of these 3 days of the market. This panel, as you can see here, is part of Be Sure Now. Let's see if it works. Come on. Of course, it doesn't work now. What I'm doing wrong? Oh, here, yeah, okay. Be Sure Now is a series of industry events focusing on short films and their festival ecosystem, promoted by Encounters Festival, Filmfest Dresden, Gijón International Film Festival, Glasgow Short Film Festival, Torino Short Film Market, and Vienna Shorts. Next slide, please. No. Oh, yeah. This is the title of today. It's Great Expectations. We are talking about the transition between short films and feature films. And we are talking about that topic with these lovely people here. Go back to the people. Go back to the people. Yeah, okay, here. Okay, in alphabetical order, we have Laura Briand, de Le Film d'ici. Then we have Ludovica Fonda from R.T.I or R.T.I, Mediaset Group and Torino Short Film Market as well. And then we have Marija Razgute. She's a producer and she works for MIDPOINT and with Lithuanian shorts for a very long time. Then we have Vadocky from Negative. It's a sales agent and also a programmer at Art Film Fest in Slovakia. And then last but not least, Lendita Zeqiraj, yeah, a film director, very well known. As I said, we wanted to address a topic that it's not new. It's been discussed many, many times in the past, but we wanted this time to have very different opinions. I hope they fight very much in this 1 hour of debate. And we wanted, for this reason, as you can see, we invited different people, professionals that are with different points of view and different jobs in the industry. Of course, I mean, I would like to start with a kind of ontological question, which, again, it has been asked so many times, but I think it would be good to understand where they stand on this. Because it's a question that has been going on for many, many years about the difference between shorts and feature films. For some people, I like the same thing. The only thing that differs is length, while for other people, they will tell you that feature films are like novels, while short films are like short novels or even poetry, if you talk to Berlinale, for instance. So my first question to the panelists is basically, what's your definition of shorts and feature films? And so what you stand in this, let's say, dichotomy? Your floor.
For me, I think personally, different story requires different length on the screen. So I, as a producer, as someone who really closely works with the script writers and directors on the stories, I have this position that, okay, this is a story for a short film, or no, this is a story for a feature film. So I think everything starts from the story. There's, of course, different ways on working it, and there is the oltre corto when you can develop a feature from the short film. But yeah, for me, it's the matter is already locked in the story.
I judge it retrospectively. So sometimes I have a short film and I say this is better. This would be better if it's made as a feature. But unfortunately, most of the time, I think about features that's only a short subject. So basically, it's for me 2 different form of language. You actually wrote it in email as a grammar, and I think that's a really good word for it. I found story to be developed in several different ways, and I don't think that always it's good to make a feature out of a short subject. And I think that I will touch a bit of a background in Czech Republic and Slovakia, because I think that people, the teachers at schools, basically are trying to persuade or convince their students to make or use the language of feature film in short making or in short filmmaking. And I think that this is a biggest mistake, and I think that we will talk about it. So.
Okay, as far as I'm concerned, I think I agree with Marija, and I really think that it's a matter of the story, and I don't think I can answer the question. I can just say that all my professional life I've been trying to work in order to get barriers down between short films and feature films and different kind of narratives since 1988, when I first fell in love with short films in a festival in Locarno. I just felt that I was so privileged to see such precious, unique ways of telling a story, and I told myself I will do my best in order for many other people to enjoy, like new converted people, a person. I really felt like I had to spread the word to the world, and so I've been trying to just not think about grammar and help people and the most accessible and open audience to enjoy both short films and feature films. That's what I've been trying to do.
Well, as a viewer, I would say that it's a question of length before anything else, with a different narrative way of telling the story. And as a producer, I would say it's two different markets, two different ways of producing it, and different audience. So I make a difference on the place I am.
Well, I have a totally maybe different approach, and I arrived to filmmaking from arts. So for me, short film or feature film, I didn't know anything about it when I started to make films and write stories. And it was somehow a way of, for me as an author, it was just the way of finding the way and finding another medium of expressing myself. Because I didn't know what length it, for example, how many pages will give, how many minutes in film, and I didn't know anything about film when I started to write my own stories. And it happened that the first one, it was a film, and it was like, for me, it was a confirmation that yes, this is film, after I made my film. And after that, short, the first one, the very first one. I didn't know if I did anything or if this is a film that is presentable or I can. So our film was selected to Oberhausen, the first one, and that was my confirmation that I did a short film. And after that, I made, I was just trying to find my medium to express myself, and I was trying with documentaries, experimental film as well. So to feature film, the last one, which is 9th project that I made like this, without having without going to any workshop or without doing any education in filmmaking. So I made my feature one, which it is feature because of the length, but doesn't mean that tomorrow or next project will be something totally something else, or it's just, that's why I say I don't know, really. I don't know the differences. I just know that if, as an author, if you have to say something, to express it, you put it there, and then we have all these great people to take care of our work.
Oh, you also have a mic there, yeah. So, I mean, from what you said, basically, it's like you talk a lot about stories, let's say, and then Daniel said grammar, like highlight. So, from what you said, of like how all these two things and how intertwine in terms as, especially. For directors and producers, as Laura said, it's like different approaches to features and shorts. How you, how can I say, judge what a story is? If it's a short, is a feature. I mean, like I totally agree with Daniel when he said that sometimes you see a short and it's like, okay, this is a longer thing, or you see a feature film that it's like, oh yeah, probably if it could work also in 20 minutes in that terms. Like, my first question is for Lendita, since you are a director, and so would like to see how you developed that, if it's an instinct thing, or it's, because you said, no, I didn't do any program, I didn't do anything, so it's more something that you feel. And then how, as producers, you use these feeling, if it's a feeling, to transform it into a short or a feature in that sense. I don't know if I've been clear.
Well, for me, when I write stories, it's a story. It's the only thing that I have in mind is where, for example, I'm in research of this human relations, and my researches are like pieces of every other than filmmaking. For example, from paintings, from physics, from if I have something as an artist in a country, for example, from Kosovo. I create this story as an urge to say it because I don't agree, or it hurt me, or something like that. It's like artistic point of view maybe, and approach. And after putting all this together, then just after that, after the finishing of writing, then I can send the script to the producer, and can judge if it's a story, it is short or feature, or because for me it's really, I just want to make a film, and I am so precise in what I want to make since the beginning. And when I say that is because maybe tomorrow I was thinking maybe it can be why should we call short and feature film? We can just have it, and just like a medium of expression. And why we can also have a film which lasts 8 hours or 20, or who knows. I mean, it's just a medium of in relation of what is the idea, what you want to say. And if we have this, I don't see the films as industry for me. Mm-hmm. So this is maybe where I can clash with producer, because I don't see it in that way. And I don't know if I answer your question.
Now I want to see what the producer says about how you clash.
For me, I think it's a lot of about the intuition when you start talking about the idea with a scriptwriter or director. So usually it's very clear from the beginning how deep you want to go into details of the story, or you want to tell this novel, like episode, or you want to have lots of subplots, sub-stories, side stories. So usually it's very clear from the very beginning when you say, okay, I have this idea about this and that. Or it should be about this and that, and then this and that, and this and that, and this and that. It means we start developing the much longer story and much more complicated story. So I had only one experience when we were developing a short film, and then we put it aside. We said, okay, this is a feature film. We will do that later. And it's still waiting for us on the shelf, but only one occasion.
Because Marija, she's a producer, and she produced short films and feature films, and your last feature was in Karlovy Vary, right?
Nova Lithuania,
yeah.
Yes, in Karlovy Vary.
Yeah, so she's experienced in both productions, while Laura, instead, you are more a feature film producer, right?
Yes, I've never produced shorts, so my answer on your specific question will be short as well. Because when directors and authors come to me and propose me some films, I don't even think of, well, this should be a short story and not a long story. It doesn't occur. So I don't immediately answer to that question because I don't have to.
No, but it will be interesting to know then how the processes are different. I mean, like you, Marija, can, have, explain if what are the big differences between producing a short and a feature, and Laura can also explain instead something that Lendita didn't do, so any training session or pitching session, and how these instead can be beneficial for a producer to develop a feature film and to help our director to then make the film. And as well, I guess also then we can understand the point of view of how we work, let's say here in Torino with Oltrecorto, which I think it's one of the most successful, or probably our most successful pitching session so far. And from Daniel's point of view, how as a distributor of feature films, when you start getting into the picture in the distribution of a film and in the process of the developing of a film. It's a lot of questions altogether, but we try to be short and concise.
So the question is more, how do you use shorts to decide on features?
Yeah, I mean, like, what's your experience? If you can talk about
I have a very specific experience here, thanks to Oltrecorto, because I was there last year, and I picked up one director who has a project for feature based on his short film, and the possibility to see in this audience a short film as I would not at my home and in a special event, it struck me that there I have in front of me a director I would like to work with, and this is the way I can pick up some project from shorts.
Do you usually use these opportunities of like pitching sessions or developing programs to then fund the films you work on?
Yes, I do, but I always try to see the previous work of the director, otherwise I couldn't know how to process, how to work, how to find the financing, and to know how can I defend this project and this author and this point of view. I'm always trying to see what had been done before. And it can be also tricky because when you find some money, when you have to find some money and submit a film to commissions, you have to provide also the previous work, and sometimes it's not good enough. So you have to explain why it's not good enough. So short can be very helpful or very tricky.
My experience is like this, that I started working as a producer with short films, and I've been producing shorts for 7 years. And within those years, I worked with quite a big pool of directors. And from that pool of directors, I kind of had my own oltre corto, if I can say so. So I found people whom I really enjoy working with, and with whom I see the future of another films, second shorts, third shorts, or then feature films. So now I work with 4 of them. One of them is still making short films, and the other 3 we made their debut feature films already, and now all of them, they work on the second feature. So basically, the development phase of the short film and the feature film phase, fortunately or not, it requires almost the same time. It's depending on the story, of course, how complex it is, how long is the short film, but the energy you have to give for the short film is really huge. It's not that if it's 10 minutes, oh, it's 10 times less than for the feature. No, it's really demanding almost the same as the feature film if you really want to reach good results. So let's say monetary-wise, as a producer who has to run the company and pay salaries, of course, feature films are the thing that can bring you some profit and some money much easier than the shorts, at least from my experience. So but I never said, okay, we stop doing shorts because it's not profitable or something like this. As I said, I'm still producing some shorts, but how much you have to invest and how much you get back money-wise, it's really a very big difference.
Ludovica, if you want to say something about
I think development is really crucial to what we are all doing. And as I'm currently a TV commissioner and executive, what I do much agree with Laura is that when I need to commission to a project, I always hear my colleagues say, okay, can you provide a mood board, or can you provide all the things that this author have made? And this was kind of a sparkle to our conversation with Jacopo and our decision to try and work on Oltrecorto. Because really a mood board and the short films are completely different things. And I personally hate mood boards because I do love short films, probably. But short films are so precious in terms of giving you the idea of how clever is an author to shape a story, and what is his precise vision on that story, the look. And so when you get short films, you really can understand what this author is probably able to do, or what is his or her potentialities, and that's so helpful in terms of commissioning features, or what I do more even TV series. Then what I think is crucial as well is to, during development, be very open on both sides of the table on what the vision on the feature films or the TV series is. Because we have been discussing also on the feature film Laura is working on. In a short films, there might be so many potentialities in terms of developing and development. And we often realize when we select Oltrecorto projects, or when we share Oltrecorto projects with the audience, that each and every one has a different perception of what the development could be. And this is fruitful, important, but at the same time very risky if you don't share the same precise vision. Then its development can be very much time-consuming, very much kind of a street fight between many different parts. So when we discuss and assess project, it is very, very important that we all share the idea of where to go. And if the author doesn't share it, it's better to let him go his own way, because I'm personally very passionate on these things, so I try sometimes to convince them, like, oh, you're following this direction, but you should think about the other one, because it could be more marketable, or it could be more new in the market space, and then I try and push, but you know, it's really a bad attitude I have, and I realize that I have to let them go, because it's really something that is taking all of us nowhere if the directions are different. You agree, so you had an experience.
I agree, because since I work for the production company, I guess I can say for the biggest production company in Czech Republic, I work as a sales agent, but it doesn't mean that I get the final product and I'm going to the world with it. No, it doesn't work like it. I'm basically reading the draft, the first draft, even second, third draft of the script, so I can see if there is any potential in the film, or how they are going to approach the subject, and if it's really a film, if it's a subject for the feature or a short film. I think that the best example is the last film, documentary, Foreman versus Foreman. We started with this film 2 years ago, and basically I started to communicate with the Cannes Film Festival at the moment that we had a treatment, and the directors decided to make a short film first. It was a tribute to Miloš Forman, so they wanted to make some kind of event, special event for the friends, and basically I started with this film, and I sent this short film to the Cannes, and okay, they found it interesting enough to continue with the conversation about it. So, and then the process, of course, it's an ongoing process, and there is a lot of people involved. When you are not a sole producer or a director who wants to have its own film, like okay, I am the one and I decide. So it's a collective process, and of course we approach a lot of script editors, we go to some kind of a test screening, and we are trying to find a best solution, best shape of the film, of course. And then it's up to me, of course I can say something as well, and it's up to director if he listens or she listens or not. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they not. But mostly it's a problem with the debut directors, as I really have to say. The directors that that have made I don't know 10 films, they can listen, and they can at least they consider your opinion, and they try to cut it in a way you say. Sometimes with the new directors, I can't be really specific. It's that they have their own vision, and they think that that's the only vision, that's the only way how the film can be made. And afterwards you see that it doesn't work. It's not even surprising. You submit it to the festivals, and you can have like 70 rejections, and you are then going to say, oh, they are all wrong. No. You are wrong, of course, obviously. So I am a part of the, I know why you're laughing, but I won't say that. Yeah, I'm a part of a production process, the whole thing, and it's better for me to work with the film from the very beginning. And I'm not going to say that I'm the only one. Every single biggest sales company like Match Factory, Wild Bunch, they are going for the scripts. and for the short films if it's a debut director.
Instead of, as a programmer, you do that as well? I mean, like, when you, like, scouting, you scout also, like, films that are already made, finished, or when, while watching the films, both shorts and features, how do you work in that sense? Because for me, as a programmer, I usually work also a lot of very rough cuts. I also I work majorly only with shorts, but I do a lot of research before a film is finished. For instance, even when there are pitching sessions, I have tried to attend those and see what's gonna be next. Also for the work I do with the Venice Film Festival that requires a very strict world premiere. What's your method, let's say?
For me, it's different because it's a smaller festival. We can't really compete. It's the biggest art film fest. It's the biggest festival in Slovakia. But comparing to a great film festival, it's different. So I am working mostly with the films that are already made, and I check mostly the festivals that already screen the films, and I try to select the best of the best. And it's different because I program a short film competition with my colleague. And of course, I'm trying to follow the directors I already know, and I'm waiting for their new films, and I really want to watch them, even if they are unsuccessful or whatever. For the features, I program American indies, and that's very difficult, to be honest, making this kind of section in Slovakia. Because of the sales agencies, because of the directors, producers, whatever. You can't really find those films. So I go to through the festivals, like I start with Sundance, Tribeca, South by Southwest, and those kind of festivals, and I try to watch everything they screen, not the winners or whatsoever. And for me, I try to program as many debut films as possible. So it means if I have like 8 or 9 or 10 films in my program, I make sure that at least 60–70% is debut film, because that's, for me, it's very important. For me, it's the purest voice of the director. And that's only one film he can make as a first, and as a, how to put it, not covered by all these things that goes with the production companies afterwards, you know, with the biggest one in America.
I want to add something about the debut directors who doesn't listen. I want to defend them. Well, maybe I work with the really talented ones, but I really I want to defend them, and that's what you said now. The debut film, the purest one, because they don't listen to the advices, and they are usually very original, because it's not polished, because it's not suitable for market, because it's something new, because it's something you haven't seen before. So I really risk a lot, I think, and we have to risk a lot, especially with debut films. And sometimes, even if they make this mistake, I think we have to allow them to do this mistake. Of course, if they don't screw the whole film, but some mistakes have to be done. Otherwise, you won't make a successful debut film. If you do a lot of compromises, if you do a lot of changes because somebody advises you, and so on and so forth. Of course, I'm not radical that you have to do what you want to do and don't listen to anybody's advices, but I think that's the beauty of the debut film, that it's not perfect, but this not perfect is something very special. Why we are crazy about new talents, why all the festivals seek debut films and have competition programs for debut films, because it's something new, something we haven't seen, something really, really special. So, and I have the directors that I work now for the second feature, and all of them, they say, what we are gonna do with the third film? Nobody will want to watch it, because all the festivals are so focused on talents, on debuts for first and second feature, and from the third feature, nobody wants you. That's the biggest fear of the filmmaker today.
Cool. So I would like to know, how many mistakes did you make during the first feature film that you did? Since Marija was talking about mistakes that you are allowed to make as a first-time director, as a...
Well, the first one, it was, I cannot say, probably there is a lot of mistakes in every single project, as it can we can have mistakes in mistakes. I don't know what's mistake, but okay, I will go with it. Okay, market-wise, I know nothing, so I'm so sorry. But yeah, as a first-time director, I already had my story in my head, and I just knew that I want this to look like this, and the image and the words are there, actors are there. You know, it's like composing a scene for something, and you have this idea. No one except yourself can tell you, especially not the producers, I think so, because that's why they are producers. This is like a machine to make a film, the director's idea until the end successfully. So to me, it's this is how it should be. And if you like from the beginning the script, then you go with it, and you have to trust 100%. It has to be both ways, like in the relation from director and producer. If not, then it's going to have problems. The film will never has its own mistakes, which can be innovative in a way, probably. And we are not entitled to know from the start, because if I give my script to someone to read it, for example, the short film Fans, I applied in this short, I don't know what they are, but it's application for budget and stuff, and I didn't got any at the beginning because they didn't understand the script as they understood the finished product. And then this film that was not selected to some funds in United States, that because we had this right to apply, he won 3-time Oscar qualifier in Hamptons, Palm Springs, and New Orleans. And it has great success, but it was, as a script, it was rejected. So, and I knew what I'm going to make, and I knew everything, and I didn't let anyone, not the producer, not anyone, to interfere with process of making it. Probably this is a different way because I didn't go to this film school, and my background is from arts, and I did some philosophy and aesthetic of films, but I never did one even day of film school. What I learned, it's from films that I watched randomly, not with intention to watch them, to learn something. But I just find out that film is not the story. Film is not this or that or that. Film is really a medium of expression who has a lot of million segments that only author can relate, and because he created this momentum, this moment, and that's why I think when producer wants to put his own touch there, it might really ruin the project, the whole project. And I only have one compromise with my producer while making my first feature, because at the beginning it was a scene where I had a rain on the scene. So he said, oh, no, rain, we cannot, because the budget was so little. And I had this 2-3 nights thinking about this, how to make it. And it came up that it was even better than with the rain. So, but the approach of collaboration was very delicate one, not the one that, no, this is, I think, this is, because if the producer starts to also put his fingers into the script, into the production, then it is somehow like self-destruction for me, for the film industry. Because when we see Michelangelo Antonioni, we can understand what I'm saying. I mean, what I want to say. And we would like to see some Michelangelo in the future, and not to make like European film, Hollywoodian film, but in European way. And I think this is why we have to just support the artists, the authors, and really to let them do the mistakes if needed.
I'd like, you can clap, yeah, sure. Yeah. Why not? I want to know Laura's point of view on what Lendita I would like to know your point of view on what Lendita said, especially on this trust between the producer and the director. So.
I think it's very difficult to generalize because I think there are as many producers with different tempers as there are directors, and then it's a question of match. And I see myself as a producer. I see the film as a partnership, a long-time partnership. You need to live an adventure, long-time adventure. So from my point of view, you need to get along well in this partnership and discussing. But I've met, in my path, I've met some directors who really needed it to be pushed up and who needed a father image, a mother image, or something like that, who were a bit like, I would say, masochist in a way. And well, this is not for me, but it could suit for other producers and other directors. So I think any talent should find his partner. This is the way I see things. And also, I like to question the directors I work with to be sure that what they express on the first hand is what they really want. Because this is the moment when we develop that there is the place for doubts and questioning on every way. And if my possibility of questioning is discussed there, as you say, it's impossible to go further. Well, it's not for me. Maybe for other producers, but not for me. So, but sometimes production issues can be very accurate from the beginning. For example, I was working with a debut director who expressed the willing of shooting his feature film in white and black, which is not expensive, so it's not a question of money. But for sure, the question is, do you want your film to exist at the end, or do you want to dream of it? And then if you just want to dream of it, maybe I will not discuss a long time with you, because I'm sure that there are such a few possibilities to have it produced and financed this way. Well, I'm generally speaking, because there are different paths of producing, but this would be a film for 100% public finance and not money from the market.
No, I think you're right. I mean, like, what we are trying to do today is also use your expertise and your past and your lives, let's say, and your experience, just to give examples. Of course, we can't generalize in that sense, but I think it might be beneficial for the audience to know that and to learn. Because another thing that really struck me, and also we were discussing with Lendita and Daniel before, is that you said, I don't know anything about the market and the business, and you don't care. It seems like you don't care. Because we are discussing about the distribution of Lendita's feature films, Aga's House, which is beautiful, by the way, so watch it. You just said, no, I don't care. I mean, like, this is not my job. And Daniel was like, oh, wow, I thought that you were, like, because the film is very successful. It's been, if I'm not wrong, 20 festivals so far, and it has received 14 awards, right? And so I would like to know how this not knowing, so like, or like ignoring at all these facts can instead work with other professionals that have like a more kind of a methodological approach to the work, because as a producer or as a distributor or as a developing talent, you have to be kind of like follow paths in a way. How does this work together?
Well, I can say easily that I don't have a clue and I don't want to know about that part. This what I ask from the producer. I don't want to know about your way, because they are so different profession. Producer cannot be director or writer. Writer cannot be producer or, I mean, they can, but if you want to focus, if you want to really go 100% in one way, then you cannot do both. I mean, you cannot be the producer and the director and the sales and the festival selector and your own festival. I mean, this is what I was against, and that's why I think like every case is different. Probably some. I also had a lot of people that I was talking to, but after I had my script and after I had, every case is different. Probably some debut filmmakers, they would appreciate, they would need maybe the advice, or they want to go and their goal is to be seen in festivals, not as much to to stick to their own idea. So lot of different cases. But as long as we somehow keep doing our thing without knowing what will happen with my film after, I never know, I don't know yet, and I don't want to know, because that will, I'm working in my next project, so I think that's why we should not have this authority game between producer and director, but we should really consider ourselves as a partner, and we both want to make something good, great, and to go from this base and not to interfere with each other's competences and ideas. And I mean, I think
well, on this I would like to know the opinion of Daniel and Ludovica, because I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's. I think that there are actually very good examples that writer-director produced his films or her films, and also made sales, which is, for example, Thunder Roads. It's Jim Cummings' film. It won Sundance and it went to several festivals. So there are exceptions, of course, but. What I'm trying to say that from my perspective, the whole distribution system is changing, and it's changing drastically. And of course, I can talk about online distributors, giants like Netflix and Amazon Studios, and we can see them as a threat that coming from the United States. Personally, I see them as a chance, also a chance for emerging producers like you, or emerging directors, because they know that their acquisitions, what they do. I just read one article about Amazon Studios, how they changed the strategies now, because they acquired a very expensive films at Sundance, and they went totally wrong at the box office. So they are going to do and go for independent producers, and they will invest money for their own production. And I think that this is also a way how to produce films. I mean, this is what Netflix do or did even 10 years ago. Young producer, director wanted to finish a film. They shoot the film, but they didn't have money for the post-production. Okay, they went to Netflix. Netflix said, okay, you give us rights or we do the sale of the film, you can finish the film. So, I mean, now the question is, and I don't have an answer, the answer must be on you two guys to decide whether you want to have your own film or not to have it, or have it in 6 years or have it tomorrow. So I think that I always, I have to actually look at the film production from the sales perspective and from the festival perspective, because I don't think that it's right to make a film and not to show it anyone, you know?
What I think is that it's really interesting what you said about the script, and I think it all goes back to initial common ground and initial development. When you say someone reads your script and doesn't understand it or doesn't pick it up, you say that the development meeting between you and the producer or a commissioner in general hasn't happened the way it could have been. So what I trust is an initial phase where you sit with an author and you understand if there is a common ground, as you said, where both sides can work in a fruitful way. If there is, there must be flexibility on both sides. That's the way things are, human relation works. There is, I don't trust only one direction and someone believing that all he or she says is not going to be open to any comments. Because when we are overwhelmed by our own creativity, sometimes it can happen that you miss some other point of view that could be useful, but also to the project. That is something I'm very much convinced of. Of course, there must be these human meetings and the flexibility to decide together if you want to take this journey together or not. Then it's going to be, actually I don't trust that neither Amazon or Netflix are producing this in one day as opposed to 6 years. And I don't trust, as I've been working with them, the fact that when someone says, some commissioner or pre-buy player says, okay, I'm hands-off creativity, I'm just going to give you a few details, then we are going back to the same start of the game, which is, do you trust each other and feel open to work together? Because I do trust that in some ways, especially for series, but as far as a commissioner and a TV executive, I feel that the products are very collective. But I do understand that from an artistic point of view, this is something very awful to hear, and I do understand. But in the process, it's very, very important that we recognize not to recognize each other as partners. That I think is crucial.
I have another question. We'd like to move on a little bit, which is about the possible or not coexistence of both short films and feature films in a filmmaker's career or a producer's career, or like. And so I would like to know, like, if it's true that after the first feature film, like as your first baby, you're like, okay, it really sucked all my energy, and I will never go back to do and my life will never be the same again, and go back to short films. Or if there's life, like for short films as well, for short film directors, for directors and the producers, and if instead as programmers, if as we miss because I do sometimes, miss some directors that did very good short films and then started to do feature films, and then they never, almost, go back to work on a short film. While there are other examples of directors like Elias Gari that instead they continue to develop both in their career as a form of expression, as you said. What's your stand on that?
Well, in my experience, it can perfectly live together, the short film and the feature film in the same company, in the same director's career. But it really depends on the personality, and it really depends on the story again. So, like the 4 directors that I work now, one of them, when he moved to the features, he said, I cannot imagine myself doing a short film because all the ideas I have are so complex and so complicated, and with lots of topics and subtopics, I wouldn't fit into a short film anymore. And this is really great, and he keeps on writing feature film scripts and now writing his 3rd script already, 3rd feature. While the other director, he is now writing a 2nd feature, and now he's preparing for a 3rd short film at the same time. He says, I know that the next feature will be no earlier than in 2 years. I want to shoot something. He says, I'm hungry. I need to go to the set. I need to work. And he does that short, and I'm very happy because, yeah, it's really great. If he has a short story and he wants to tell it, let's do that, because we have all the tools, we have all the conditions to do that. And then one of the directors that I work with, he's doing short films. So in my company, everything can exist in a very nice way. So.
No, I always have to laugh because one month ago I was at a panel, and there was a Slovak director. I will name his name is Michal Blaško. He made a successful short film, Atlantis 2003, and the first question he was asked, he said, I will never do a short film again. I really have to use this example. I told him that I will use this example, so he knows. But also, it's the same. I don't understand that. Basically, I can't say. I'm not the author. Maybe Lendita will say more. I like when the feature film director is coming kind of back. I don't call it coming back. Doing a short film again, because it's always nice to watch the films, short films. Even from the very famous directors, you can go for Wes Anderson, David Lynch, I don't know, whatever name, Spike Jonze. They are doing commercials. Of course, it's commercial, it's very expensive production, it's very well paid, but at the same time, most of those films are watchable, even good. So I really like to watch those films. And also Denis Villeneuve, a famous Canadian director, after a series of feature film, he made a very, very successful film, a short film, Next Floor, that travels around, I don't know, more than 100 festivals. It won more than 20 awards. But at the same time, also my boss, the main producer of our company, he's now producing a short film. It was selected to Euroconnection in 2016, and we had a really problem to secure the financing for the second part of the production process. And we talked like 2 weeks ago, and he said, like, no, this is my last short I ever do. So yeah, I mean, I don't understand that, but as I said, I can't judge because I like to watch them. I like when they are, the feature film directors make short films because it's something different.
Yeah, this is, we come back to the same question, I think, because I love films, short or feature, and now while developing my second feature, I'm already trying to make my next short movie, I can only say the title, which is Fard. Donc, maybe it's, it can... I asked my producer, can I put this title, like as a title? And he said, yeah, of course, you know, it's... So I think if you have an idea, it's really the medium, it's not important at all. It can be short, experimental, video, whatever. I name it. It's like just you have this idea and you find this sort of medium to express it, and that's it for me, I mean, as an author.
No, because this is my last question, by the way. Connected to this, I would say that in my experience as a programmer, it's sometimes it seems like, since I do work more with shorts, as I said, sometimes I heard people telling me, so when you finish working with shorts and when you start working with features. So it looks like working with shorts sometimes, and I think this is my question for you as like professionals, is sometimes considered by somebody as a kind of second league sport, while if you start then working with features, might be as a director or as a producer or as distributor or even like as a developing program, then you're playing in the Premier League basically. So do you? I think that your answer is no. Yeah. No, I mean like if you feel this urge to say I have to make a feature film because then I want to be considered a director that is in Premier League or not. I think.
No, even now I don't consider myself really as part of film industry because I don't know anything about it. I don't know the things, how it goes and how you should develop and how you go to. That's why I'm more like concentrated into my, I just want to leave me alone and do my work. This is the way how, and then for the production-wise, I know that while searching for the funds for my short, we couldn't find any funding because Kosovo, you know, we have only one fund and it's yearly. And 1 year we didn't get the fund and we had to wait. And at the end, somehow, I changed the way of shooting and everything. And I said, okay, since we don't have funds, I will shoot this with my phone. Because it is one take, I have everything prepared, and I will do it with phone. And only after that we had this funding, so we didn't have to wait long to shoot it. But as long as we, it is this film, we have to have money to do it because we have to pay everything and actors and everyone. And that's why maybe we need I can say this because I was just talking to some of my colleagues, and we have maybe to make some other regulations in fund, cinema fund, because we don't need people to read, and I mean we really have to have this sort of as France has, Sensei, for example, if your film is successful, immediately you had another chance for short film. This is the regulation in Sensei. There is a name for this, like immediate. When you
direct a short film, it's a success. You have immediate possibility to. No, I don't. You mean if? Yeah, I'm not sure what you're mentioning. When you have directed a feature film, then you have a possibility to have some other money to do the next one.
Yeah, it's like a short for short. It's like immediate.
For shorts. Yeah. For shorts, I don't know. I can't tell. Yeah. There is this system of automatic funds, but I can't talk for shorts because I'm not sure. I can talk for long, for feature film.
I would.
Yeah.
I would keep the discussion
sorry,
only on
yeah.
the question, because we are also running out of time. So if you just briefly answer to my question, all of you, and then we'll ask one question from the audience. I'm sorry, but we need to really.
I will just answer to your question. For me, well, from my experience in discussion with directors and authors, I'm quite sure, besides some very specific exceptions, that they consider feature film as being the first league, because they want to be recognized. Most of them, they would like to be recognized, and most of them dream of being selected in Cannes Film Festival, for example, which is kind of dream. And I think it's understandable to be successful and recognized, and this is what everybody is reaching, including producers.
Okay.
Yeah, the point is that spaces for short films are shrinking, at least in Italy and I think in Europe. So yeah, when you start and get to the other point, that is feature filmmaking, if you are very successful, then you can probably decide to go back or take your time to do other short films. Unless you don't get to the point, probably you run and run and run to do other feature films or series or so. What I see sometimes is that a very acclaimed director, then after a few years, tutor young directors and help them to develop or work or reflect on shorts, which is, I think, important as well.
I thought I said it.
I think that, you know, this division of first league or second league is in somebody's heads who really focuses on the money, because there is much bigger money behind the feature films in terms when you seek for the funding, in terms of box office, what comes back to you. So if you think this way, then, I don't know, they really focus on the money, and then they consider this is the first league because there are more money. But I don't agree.
Okay, cool. Is there any questions? Sorry, I have to speed up. I have people telling me that it's speed up. Is there any questions? We have time anyway for one question or no? Okay, yeah, one here. Can you, yeah.
Hello. So my question is, when you work and produce short films, so usually you distribute them mainly in festivals or also some other ways, or mainly festivals around the world?
Who wants to answer?
Do you understand the question?
How do we distribute the short films?
Yeah, I'm asking if the main thing is just through festivals around the world, different countries, or also, you know, some networks like you know, TV and stuff.
My experience is like mostly the festivals only, and one of the short films was sold for some TVs quite successfully, but some short films went to the festivals only.
I don't usually work with short films, but I did when I worked for Czech Film Center, and we promote, mostly we promote short films at the festivals. But there are certain channels that you can use. There are mostly online platforms that are acquiring short films. And of course the best yeah, the best is to sell the film to some broadcaster. I did succeed once with a short film. We sell the film to R.T.I. Unfortunately, as we discussed, their showing times of those films are very unfortunate. But from my perspective, I have to say that they pay the best. So yeah, there are several channels, but since we're considering there are 20,000 films made per year, there is just a little, I mean, there is 100 films that are maybe sold a year.
Well, from my experience with short, we circulated a lot in festivals, but after that, we had the offers for broadcasting. For example, one of my shorts was in R.T.I in Italy. It was sold in Japan, in Greece, and some other, like. But the money that you will get from this is cacahuet. It's nothing really. It's not as you sell a feature film.
Yeah, so that's why, if it's okay, my second question, I think very important. So maybe it's not. Yeah, but it's a very important question.
Sorry, trying to give people more. You can answer them after the.
Hello. My question is somehow more general, in fact. I'm wondering about the question of reachability of the producers. You know, for example, now there are so many apps like Tinder, for example. They know the people, each other from distance without, has to be in some place to know each other, to see face by face. The question that, based on experience, I'm asking this, that why, for example, the producers are not reachable in sense of, you know, being contacted by emails, or I know that many of you receive so many emails, but you don't respond it regularly. You can't trust the people, you know, just contact by the email. I mean, let's go a little bit, you know, behind. Why we should be here to be in contact? Here, I mean, generally, in a place, in the same roof. What's the matter with this industry?
What was the question?
No, the question is like why people don't reply to emails?
No, it was more general, by the way.
No.
You didn't understand the question? Maybe they did. Okay. No, the question was the reachability of the directors, for the producers, the reachability in the sense, you know, there are some platforms like here, like markets in other countries, markets in festivals. You know, me as an author should be there, you know, to have access to you as producers, no?
Okay.
So what if someone, just ask, what if someone come to this industry and, you know, they don't have access to those kind of places?
Okay. Who wants to reply to the question? I think the question is, if I got it right, is that it's difficult for filmmakers to get in contact with producers. But this is right? And so why is that so? I think this is the question. But I can tell you, if I can add to that it's not only producers, it's everybody. But I think it's part of a system, in my opinion. This is my 2 cents.
What's wrong with the system?
I think it's about that these people are really busy, but it's true. It's not that they pretend they are busy. Like I have so many projects in my company running now, in development, in post-production. One of them we finished shooting, and then I have 2 proposals of the co-production, one of which I'm now trying to fund in my country, and then I have to travel, and then I have to family, and so on and so forth. And everybody does the same. So I think these people are busy, and they are like, they have this pool of partners that they work with. Maybe that's why.
Exactly, there are so many projects, and at our company there are 4 main producers, and every one of them is working on several projects at the time, and there are several scripts coming to our email address, not every single day, but every week. And it's just impossible to get to them, read them, and to answer. But I mean, really, it's not possible. That's why we encourage to new directors or upcoming directors to go to these kind of events and talk to the producers because you have a chance to pitch your project?
No. We agree.
Now, as Daniel said, I think that these kind of events, as many others like MIA and other markets, are made for this, for meeting, actually. And so that's the answer. I mean, like, travel, go to these events, and probably it will be easier to talk to these people, I guess. And talking about meetings, thank you for meeting us and coming to the panel today. This was it. And doesn't work as well. Yeah, of course. Yeah, come on. Yoo-hoo. Okay, yeah, thank you for attending. And if you want to know more about Be Sure Now, you can go to our website, BeSureNow.com, where you can find podcasts and videos of the panels that we sponsor, let's say, and the features at different festivals. And thank you so much. In like a few minutes, we will have the award ceremony here in this room. I would like to please everybody to leave because we have to prepare it for the ceremony. And I hope that my boss will not kill me for being late. Thank you so much.